Q&A time. Q&A time. Alright, let's get fucking situated here. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, it is your boy, Zeiler, and today I would like to be taking you guys through a little bit of a Q&A. So a handful of days ago, I reached out to you guys on Instagram, and I asked you guys to send a bunch of questions for a Q&A video here on YouTube, and today I plan on providing you guys with some answers. I'd like to do more of these in the future, and I would also like to ask you guys to go in the comments below and ask some more questions for the next Q&A. So with that said, we're going to get started. I have all of the questions pulled up here on my laptop, and we're just going to go through a handful of them. I'm not going to answer all of these. Some of them are highly inappropriate, so they will not get my attention. By the way, I don't have like a script ready, and I have only browsed through these questions. I don't really have like a preparedness. I'm kind of just giving it to you guys on the spot, putting myself on the spot and answering these questions, so keep that in mind. First question, how big is your arms? Interesting question. So a handful of days ago, after a shoulder, bicep, and tricep workout, I had a pretty decent pump going, and I decided to bust out my tape measure to see how big my arms were. And during this workout, my arms were right at 20 inches, a little past 20 inches. This wasn't the craziest workout, and I know that I could have had a much more ridiculous pump. So what I would like to do in the near future is designate a video to an arm workout, triceps and biceps, where I do an updated measuring video as well. I think that would be a fantastic idea for some content, and hopefully you guys would enjoy that too. Next question, could you be my friend? Absolutely. Hi, friend. Do you think muscles look good with or without body hair? I think this all comes down to personal preference. And I can only speak for myself in saying that having body hair, it's definitely a different look than being clean shaven, right? Like being clean shaven kind of highlights and showcases the muscle in a way where you can really see the striations and the detail and separation between muscle groups. Whereas I've kind of let my body hair just go, and I'm very blessed in the sense that the way that my body hair lies on like my chest, for example, I just got good genetics. I'm not just furry everywhere. I kind of have like a lot of hair on my chest area, and then I have like a line that follows down my abdominal region in a way that just kind of accentuates the different muscle groups of my body. I am starting to get some of that back hair. I'm not a fan of that. And I kind of have this weird habit of taking tweezers and tweezing my shoulders and the back of my neck up until the point where I can't reach the back hairs. So I really need to have someone either wax me, but I'm definitely getting a hairier back. My arms and my legs have always been hairy. I don't believe in shaving my arms and legs. I've done it before for photo shoots and video shoots, but it's a lot more work and maintenance than I am willing to do. And I'm kind of going for more of a rugged alpha male type look anyways right now in the current state. What is the largest size you have reached? So when it comes to size, I think there's the visual reference, you know, like where I feel that I've looked my biggest. And there's also like a weight cap, like where I've reached my heaviest, so to speak. So I will answer both of those questions. I'd like to think that my present day look is my largest size that I've reached. Now, I've had periods where certain body parts have been kind of out of proportion or gigantic, or you know, I've had periods where my legs have been bigger in the past than what they are right now. But in the current state, I would say that my upper body especially, I have brought up a lot of weak points and hyper-focused on points of interest that I have wanted to improve upon for the past several years. Everything from my chest thickness, which I have brought up tremendously. You know, when I first started lifting, I had a lot of people who would actually call me the nickname bird chest because I had these really dominant arms with a very lackluster chest. But with time, with a lot of hard work and a lot of connecting to, you know, activation of my chest during my various pressing workouts, I have been able to add a substantial amount of mass to my overall chest, and videos and pictures really don't do justice. If you guys were to see me in person, you would be able to see that I got some size in the titty area. And I definitely feel it. Like when I walk around, I don't want to sound like a woman, but I get a little bit of backache from time to time from the sheer heaviness of my chest, you know. As my chest has grown, it's had this tendency to bring my shoulders forward, to where I almost want to be hunched over all the time. So I have to really be practical in thinking about my posture, bringing my shoulder blades back. And when I walk around, I have to think about my posture constantly, unless I want to get like that lower back or erector pain. It's just something that kind of comes and goes. So to answer that question, I think that I'm at my biggest now in terms of like being my biggest with the best package, if that makes sense. Holding on to aesthetics, bringing on improvement to weak points, and just overall quality size. I'd like to think that I'm my biggest in the present day. However, I'll throw up a couple of different looks and pictures if I remember to in this video to give you guys a couple of different examples of the types of looks that I've had, because I've had periods where I have really I've had a hyper focus on just blowing up, getting as big as possible, where my thighs got gigantic. I'm squatting 500 pounds for reps during this time. I'm deadlifting 600 pounds for reps. And I've looked like a butterball in a handful of different situations, or kind of a meatball is my best way to classify it. So I may have been bigger in some of those instances, but it's not like I'm going to consider that as being better by any means. I'll let you guys be the judge. In terms of body weight, it's been a handful of years, but there was one year during the holidays, to be completely specific, where I got to my heaviest point. I think I got up to 232 or 233 pounds, and that's the heaviest I've ever been at 6 feet tall. If I were to guess today, because I have not weighed myself in 6 months to a year, I truly am chasing the visual. I truly am focused on aesthetics and building my physique from the visual reference versus the scale. If I had to guess, I'm probably a very lean, shredded 215 to maybe 220 pounds at 6 feet tall today. So I'm not quite that 232 pounds, but when I hit that 232, I was eating a lot of Thanksgiving dinner leftovers. I was drinking a lot of beer in the winter time, and I was just really trying to gain body fat at that period in time. So a lot of it was just additional fluff. You got to imagine that if I weigh 220 pounds lean right now, what's another 12 pounds of fat really going to look like? Is it going to be that crazy? Am I going to look that different? I don't know. You guys can be the judge. Now, this next question is fantastic. It's a great follow-up from the last. How much bigger do you want to grow? In some photos, you look surreally big. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I sometimes forget how massive I've gotten. I forget that I carry around as much muscle as what I do. And it takes me, sitting down to edit a video or looking at present progress photos to really understand or be reminded, like, you are a big human being. And especially when I go back to the drawing board of when I started this lifting process, I was 106 pounds, bone thin, deathly, sickly thin. So I managed to add almost 100 pounds, like a whole human being, to my frame. And with that said, I'm getting to a point where I'm comfortable. Like, I'm comfortable with not getting much bigger. I think that when it comes to adding size, the whole gigantic, massive thing, it's overdone. Doing things like putting on socks, for example, it's actually a difficult activity for me. Like, it requires me to sit down on a couch or sit down on the side of my bed in order to put my 2 to 3 pairs of socks on that I wear, because I'm a psychopath. When I'm walking up and down flights of stairs, I take notice to the additional size that I carry around. I am naturally meant to be a very skinny individual, like a very lean, athletic person, and I'm beginning to realize that I'm carrying a lot more muscle to my frame than what I am naturally meant to carry around, if that makes sense. And when I analyze my physique, I could go into that in great detail. I am really happy with where I'm at. I have truly surpassed any position of where I thought I would end up when I started this journey. I never thought that I would get as big as what I am now. I know that I've mentioned several times that I don't have any plans on competing or anything like that, but I still train and eat as though I am going to compete one day. So, finding balance within it all is something that I struggle with. I've struggled with it since the very beginning, but here I am like 15 years into this, and I'm walking around 215, 220 pounds shredded to the bone, and I'm not really feeling the need to get much bigger. I think that if I were to add a lot more size to my upper body, then it would be overdone. I would start to look blocky. It would just look disproportionate. It would make my head look really tiny, and I'm all about the artistry of bodybuilding and the aestheticism, holding on to aesthetics, keeping the waist as small as possible. And a lot of those guys out there who push food to a crazy level, even crazier than what I do, and I'm eating like 6,300 calories right now for maintenance. A lot of those guys destroy their midsection from just eating and pushing food along with the supplements that they're taking. And I'm at a point now where I just don't want to push the supplements any further than what I have, to be completely realistic. And that's a whole nother video that I could make talking about competing. Just the sheer factor of learning over the course of the past several years what these pros take. I take the information that I gather and I compare it to the things that I have tried and the things that I currently do, and I have no desire to take the quantity of these supplements that these guys take. I just have no desire. I'm all about improvement. So with improvement, I don't feel like I necessarily have to add a crazy amount of mass. I would love to bring up my calves. I could add some additional size to my quads and my hamstrings right now. I would like to continue to add some more size to my rear delts, my lat width that I have also improved upon in recent times, putting a lot of focus in pull down type movements, pullovers, you name it. So I don't really want to get too much bigger. I'm at a point now where I'm aware, like, I'm a pretty big dude. I don't have body dysmorphia, not really anymore. There are mornings where I wake up and I'm like, man, I look flat. I could look a lot bigger than this. But that's just a matter of eating. I'm pretty okay. I'm pretty okay with where we're at right now. I'm pretty okay with the look that I'm carrying right now. And here in 2025, when I analyze myself, maybe there's other opinions, because you always have people that are like, man, you should bring this look back. You need to bring that look back. You're always going to experience that in bodybuilding. And I have learned to just, have a filter within my mind to where when people say things to me, I analyze it, I take it into consideration, but then I ultimately decide whether or not it's information that's useful for me. But when I analyze myself in the present day, I have like a confidence that it's one of my best looks yet. I feel like I have a crazy amount of size while holding on to a tight waist. I know how to display my strong points when I do any form of posing. I've kind of mastered the art of illusion in a way. Like, I know how to showcase my physique. I know what my strong points are. I know what my weak points are. So I'm not really looking to get much bigger. McDonald's or Burger King? McDonald's, but Burger King still holds a very special place in my heart with their chicken fries or just the fact that you can get an icy from Burger King. So I love them both. Onion rings too from Burger King. Wow. But I'm definitely a picky eater, and there's a lot more on the McDonald's menu that I would feel comfortable ordering from. And McDonald's has just always been kind of an OG for me. Next question. Favorite metal/rock bands? Off the top of my head, there could be dozens of these, but System of a Down, Lamb of God, As I Lie Dying, what am I forgetting? Slipknot, Korn. There's a handful. I mean, I could go on if I were able to open my Spotify right now and go through my metal and rock playlist, but that's 5 off the top of my head that I enjoy their music. The last movie you saw? What did we watch? I was with my girlfriend 2 nights ago, and we watched Richie Rich with Macaulay Culkin. If you guys haven't watched that, it's a classic. Just something that I grew up watching on VHS with my brother, if he even remembers. I made my girlfriend watch it with me because she's never seen it before. So that was the last movie that I watched. Countryside or big city life? 100% countryside. I grew up a country boy. I will die a country boy. Not that I mind the city. Like, I've worked in downtown Toledo as a bouncer before. I've experienced the city life within reason. I definitely prefer the quiet, rural life of the country. The country is what inspired a lot of my work ethic growing up on farms and working on dozens of farms. There's just something about it. There's just something about it, especially coming from such a small village here in Southeast Michigan. Do you plan to travel to Europe? I would love to travel to Europe again. I have been there several times, and I have a handful of friends over in Europe that have been on my ass about visiting them again, which I've got to get my shit together. I just got a lot going on. But I would have to say with 100% certainty that I will definitely travel to Europe again sometime in the future. Next question. You married? No, I am not married. In fact, I am divorced, dating my ex-wife, whom I've been with for 16 years now. A very long time. Which, by the way, she and I would like to come on this platform and do a little bit of some video content for you guys, including Q&As, and just talking with you guys to aware you of some of the things that we've went through these past handful of years, including our divorce, our marriage, etc. Let me know if you guys would like to see Tara on here, because it's been a minute. It's been a while since she and I have showed up on this platform. I think it would be fun. I think that it's overdue, to say the least. And we could touch upon some very interesting topics, to say the least. Do you get recognized in public ever, even when not in the gym? Absolutely, especially if I'm going out locally. When I worked as a bouncer in downtown Toledo, I got recognized a lot. People ask for pictures and videos and stuff. Sometimes it happens if I'm walking around in a mall or a restaurant or something like that. It doesn't happen crazy often. You got to think fitness is kind of a niche, and 99% of people walking around don't really obsess about fitness that much. But when I walk into new gyms or visit gyms, wherever I go, it most definitely happens more often than not in visiting newer gyms. How's your health? I would like to think that this current state that I'm in is the healthiest I've ever been. Last time I had blood work done, everything came back extremely clear. I did have an increase in my creatinine levels, which is to be expected when you're consuming a ridiculous amount of protein on a day-to-day basis. It's usually something that bodybuilders are known to have. But outside of that, I would have to point out my cardio could be much better, and it's something I'm kind of taking notice to from time to time. It's just a really difficult thing to apply to my training when I just am already so ridiculously shredded. I'm not trying to get any more shredded, so doing cardio can be a difficult thing for me to find balance with the intense weightlifting that I'm performing for 2 to 3 hours each and every day. Outside of that though, my physical health, fantastic. My mental health, fantastic. Super fitness or go mad? Only could pick one. Really good question. I would have to go with Super Fitness. The one luxury that GoMad has over Super Fitness is the factor that it's a 24-hour gym. And if GoMad never got rid of their metal plates, I would put GoMad before Super. But Super Fitness just has a superior selection of equipment. It's a much, much, much bigger gym to where you're not right on top of people during your training, or in my case, if I'm trying to film and whatnot, it's just much more spacious. The dumbbells go up to 150 pounds, whereas GoMad, the dumbbells go up to 120. My camera cut out on me there. I don't know where it cut out, so we're gonna make do with whatever we're doing here. Where you get yours hats, go-to gym playlist, favorite Peep song, thoughts on new JP trailer. All right, I'm going to try to go through this one kind of quick. I need to pick up the pace because these clips are getting longer than what I was hoping for. I get the majority of my hats from Bass Pro Shop, Cabela's, or Amazon. My go-to gym playlist is a playlist that I made myself, and I recently made all of my Spotify shit private. That could change in the future. But I have a specific playlist called The Alpha, and I am very selective about my music. I am very particular about the groups of songs that I put in this playlist, and I truly try to inspire a frequency at a vibrational level of how I carry myself and the energy at which I feel this playlist. I'm very careful about what I put into the playlist. There's days where I will listen to a song within it and I'll be like, yeah, this don't fit the vibe. I need to get this shit out. So that's my go-to playlist. Maybe I'll make it public again one day soon. I don't know. My favorite Peep song, Star Shopping. You can't go wrong with some Star Shopping. Thoughts on the new JP trailer? Listen, this would be a whole separate topic. I'm trying to go into this new movie with a positive outlook and no expectations, but I gotta be real. The mutant within the trailer, the whole mutant idea, I could talk about this for 6 hours. I'm just not a fan of it. I wish we could go back to, dinosaurs just being scary. I am a huge advocate of not only the first Jurassic Park book, but the second book as well, written by Michael Crichton. There are so many horror elements within those books that could just carry over into a movie. And I don't know why we have to go so over the top in adding this Rancor alien looking thing into the Jurassic Park franchise. Once again, I'm going to try to be as optimistic as possible going to see the movie. At the very least, there's a bunch of new merchandise like clothes and toys that are coming out that I'm going to buy for myself. So I try to look at it with a positive perspective. Regardless, you can bet that I'm going to be seeing that movie on day one when it releases. Do you offer gear guidance? No, I do not, and I do not plan to. My favorite superhero? I don't really have a favorite superhero growing up. It was always Spider-Man, so I guess it would still have to be Spider-Man. And I'm a big Tobey Maguire guy. I've watched some of the other Spider-Mans. There is so much fucking lore out there when it comes to these superhero movies and stuff. It's impossible to keep up with unless you're one of those. I definitely mess with Tobey Maguire Spider-Man. One of my favorites. Favorite land animal and favorite ocean animal? If we're talking modern day, my favorite land animal would definitely have to be a beagle, for obvious reasons. I've grown up with beagles my whole life. I love them. When I see them out in public, I tear up a little out of excitement and wanting to pet them. There's something about them. My favorite ocean animal, I guess I'm split between an orca and a great white shark. I know that orcas can absolutely fuck up great whites, but they both are cool in their own ways. They both have very cool characteristics in their hunting abilities and just the way that they swim around all day in the ocean. I don't know. Are you still a Jedi? 100%. I have been tempted. I've been tempted by the dark side in a handful of different situations, but I have remained strong and I have become a much stronger Jedi from a lot of the experiences that I have gone through. I don't know. May the Force be with you. In that shoulder video, Revenge, seems like you were in a dark place back then mentally. I believe that video was during my divorce process. So yes, safe to say I was definitely in a darker place mentally at that time. And that was way back in 2020. But to be real with you guys, the past 5 years of my life have been some of the most challenging mentally, physically, emotionally years of my entire existence. And that's coming from a dude who came very close to death during cancer treatments. So touching on my personal life is something that I would love to do, to share a lot of experiences and things that I've been going through over the past several years. However, I'm still going through a lot of it to where I have to offer a lot of care with how I go about talking about things and avoiding certain subjects. So hopefully I will be able to talk about more of those things soon, because your mental health is everything, guys. And if you don't have your mental health in check, it can be very difficult to have everything else in check. And I know that there are so many people that struggle with mental illness, but it's definitely something that I would like to touch upon with you guys, because I feel like I have a lot of helpful information for helping others get through some of their adversities in life. Hopefully we can touch upon that soon. Do you really need to break form to break fibers? Absolutely not. I mean, you can have impeccable form, perfect form on a given exercise, and as long as you're focused on hypertrophy and progressive overload, getting stronger over time, you're going to break down fibers and ultimately grow. Now, I will say that as you gain experience in the gym and you master your form on various exercises, you can at times afford to break form, put a little bit of body language into an exercise to utilize greater poundages to break fibers in that fashion as well. It's just a different form of intensity and a different training style and approach that you can have from your day-to-day workouts, and having perfect form one workout and then, having a little bit of looseness on your next workout. I don't know, that's something that I could touch upon more too. I think I'm gonna wrap this up. I went through the majority of these. There's still a handful that I could go through, but I don't want this video to be extremely long. I would just like to remind you guys again, if you could please go into the comments of this video and ask some more questions to carry over to the next Q&A that I do. I will more than likely ask for more questions on Instagram in the near future, so be sure to be on the lookout for that there on my stories. But other than that, guys, these are fun. I enjoy these Q&As. It allows me to get more personable with you guys and answer your questions at the same time. So I want to thank each and every last one of you guys who did ask questions. And with that said, this has been your boy, Zach Zeiler. I love you guys so much, and thank you very much for tuning in to this brand new installment. And until next time, love y'all so much. It's your boy. Peace out. Bye. Okay, we're done. We're fucking done.